Hey there. Welcome to Product Marketing Genius. I'm your host, Nitin Karthik. As Director of Product Marketing, I've always found that real world case studies are the true litmus test when it comes to measuring the effectiveness of any product marketing strategy. And that is why in this series, we dive into the minds of industry titans as well as rising stars, unpacking their expertise in action packed episodes that showcase the power of product marketing strategy through real world case studies and examples. And my friends, today we are joined by product marketing genius Andrew Hatfield, who is founder and CEO at Deep Star Strategic. Andrew is a top 100 product marketing voice with numerous successful product launches under his belt. He has delivered over $196 million in revenue and $1.3 billion in pipeline, working across sales and marketing teams. With over 23 years of experience across startups as well as major enterprises, working with public sector entities, vendors, channel partners, many other organizations, Andrew has the ability to solve complex business challenges and deliver robust value for his organizations. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Andrew Hatfield. Welcome to the show. It's a really honor to have you on, Andrew.
Thanks, Nitin. It's a real pleasure to be here. I've been looking forward to this. This is great. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So maybe let's start, Andrew. Tell us a little bit about Deep Star Strategic and a little bit about your role there.
Sure. Well, that's a pretty amazing start. As you mentioned, worked in a number of places, had some good successes, but along the way, I've just seen too many great ideas fail, and that was really the impetus as to why I started Deep Star Strategic. And we work with B2B tech and SaaS leaders, and we help them adopt buyer-led growth to overcome their challenges while keeping their costs down. You've probably seen this in your roles. Buying has changed dramatically in the last few years, and you can't just follow the old playbooks from 2012 or 2017, and that whole growth at all costs approach, it just isn't feasible anymore. And even when we're doing it, you could see that it wasn't really the right approach, but made VCs happy. So we focus on helping companies fix conversion leaks, build scalable demand engines that deliver qualified revenue opportunities, and find those growth loops so that they can multiply ongoing revenue. And the thing that really drives us is being driven by first-party buyer insights and connecting your unique point of views that makes you stand out and get noticed. And that's the different approach that we take. We're really opinionated about first-party buyer insights and having a strong opinion.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad that our audience will, after the show, be reaching out to you, get even more details. So, Andrew, without further ado, we promised our audience an example from your experience. And we're going to use the ABC framework, the antecedents, what were the challenges before, the behaviors and the actions that you pursued, and the conclusion. How did that situation play out? So with that, Andrew, pick a situation from your experience and tell us the challenges initially, the antecedents.
Sure. Look, I love real world examples. I always talk about this with sales enablement. Don't try and sugarcoat or make something up, use something real. So, recently we were working with a seed stage startup. They reached out, they wanted some help validating their go-to-market and how they could ramp their acquisition efforts. They had a great solution. It helps engineering teams keep projects on track. It's a real problem. But their take was, you can do that without having endless meetings and having to read every design doc and code check-in. And they already had a handful of early adopters. But they hadn't found a repeatable way to keep acquiring more. And so that's why they reached out. A couple of people between us and them in our shared network, and they heard some good things. We had a couple of chats, showed them some of the ideas that we had, and they're like, hey, let's give this a go.
Wonderful, wonderful. That sounds like a great way to start anything, Andrew. So that's amazing. So now that we have the antecedents, let's get into the behaviors. Tell us some of the actions that you engaged in here.
Sure. Look, I always find that this is surprising that it's something that we call out, but We start by analyzing the existing data, whether it's in HubSpot, in their product, if I've got telemetry, things like social channels, and try and get a picture that's painted by numbers, not just opinions. And a great thing about this team in particular, they were already asking great questions. They had interviews with their customers and prospects, with their losses, and so fantastic start. So combining their research, our customer insights, we went and did some competitor and alternative analysis in the market, as well as some blind audience message testing. And we started to build this coherent view of what was happening, but most importantly, why that was happening. And so the first thing that we did was update their messaging to be more aligned with their buyers. That was the first big deliverable. And getting their founders' point of view and facilitating this narrative exercise that led to a clear message with like real value for their buyers. And it started getting immediate results. Something that we've learned over doing this a number of times is we can't write the narrative for buyers or for software companies. But what we can do is guide them through this process, and we facilitate that. Like, we bring all the pieces together. And what was great with this particular founder, he had a really strong opinion. He's worked in a lot of like big engineering companies, being a leader, and so he really knew this pain. So he's very clear on like why they had started this business. The biggest challenge that we faced was around how to position them within a category. And like, yes, buyers determine your category, but they really didn't want to be lumped with other project management tools. And there was a range of valid reasons. But from our research and reading, their interviews, talking with customers, looking at the market, we knew that their buyers saw them as this really focused, like niche engineering project tool. And so, we kept having this conversation, and it kind of got to this, well, we think, you think, etc. And so we just ran another audience test, and we asked a simple question, like, here's two headlines. One was one direction, and the other was, including this, niche down project management tool specifically for engineering. And the data was clear, like about 92% of respondents said that it was the PM style tool, and why that they found that relatable. And that really, like, that conversation kind of evaporated. Like, our client, they didn't like it, right? But they're like, well, okay, that's what our buyers think we are. So, like, okay, in their defense, they said, let's test it, and we did. And with that sort of foundational work out of the way, we started building a series of campaigns for them, combining this human approach to social networking with increasingly scaled, paid efforts in two different channels. And they started to see an uptick.
Wonderful, wonderful. Seeing an uptick is always a good sign.
It
and
is.
I think now that we've covered the behaviors, let's talk a little bit about the conclusion and how the situation really played out. Tell us more about some of the results and how the situation played out from your perspective, Andrew.
Yeah, look, our perspective is nice, but it's more about theirs. So, things started moving up and to the right, and with a bit of like momentum behind it, and they really wanted to prepare for a funding round. So, the initial, like the very first campaigns that we ran, straight off the bat, compared to what they were doing beforehand, there was an 87% improvement over their original messaging. And so, they were very happy, and they started to get these queries of people coming to their website, going to the sign-up page. And then, like every, conversion effort, like things started to drop off. So it's like every time, like you fix something, you fix the next thing, you fix the next thing. And we just really took this fast approach. But things continue to get better, amplified by organic content. Like that was a big part of the strategy. Actual thought leadership, like sharing their experiences and thoughts about what it means to be an efficient engineering team and how engineering managers can actually deliver. And something that we found worked really well in this case was, just relatable engineering memes. That landed with the market. They loved it. And initially they were like, oh, I find that funny. Well, the buyer, they're like, dude, you are your buyer. And so again, we tried it. They're like, oh, well, yeah, we'll trust you, Andrew. And yeah, like that's the thing that like really kind of started to kick it off. And so, outreach moved from being like totally cold and impersonal and like very salesy, to now, because of all of this, work happening together and integrating, they started moving towards this warm outreach with all these people that were engaging. And the COO kept saying like, hey, I'm getting these inbound messages, or people are replying to me now, and they're from key roles, and they're saying like, hey, I saw this really hit me hard. We helped them write a handbook, all their content, but we helped guide the structure. And between Q3 and Q4, they had already seen an increase in trial signups of 105%, and that continued to grow. So, look, there's plenty left to do, but I say that that's come a long way in a short period of time, and they're now in that position where they can actually go to their investors and try and raise more money and say, hey, we've got something that is proven to get traction in the market. And that's what they're doing now.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love, Andrew, how you highlighted a couple of things. And just for the audience, let's just reiterate that product marketing, many people feel that it's all about sales, but you, I think, highlighted that here, the organization was actually looking to appeal to investors. So product marketing can serve many different masters, right? Of course, if you want to grow revenue, that product marketing can do that. But if you also want to raise funding, right? Product marketing can help with that too. So I think that was amazing. 100+% growth. I think that's already wonderful. And of course, the situation is still playing out. Maybe we'll have you back to tell us more about how the situation played out maybe a few months from now. So wonderful. I hope you all learned as much as I did during this episode. Andrew, tell us, where can people find you and learn more, especially about your firm, Deep Star Strategic?
Yeah, look, deepstarstrategic.com is always a great place. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so just search Andrew Hatfield. Pretty sure I'm the first one, or in linkedin.com/in/Andrew Hatfield. I respond really quickly. Love that network. And just touching on something that you said earlier around learning together, that we're a big proponent of community and we love these sort of things. So I've really enjoyed this opportunity to share some of our thinking and why we think it's relevant and the results it gets. So thanks very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. So everybody, definitely do check out Andrew Hatfield on LinkedIn. Check out Deep Star Strategic. Again, that's deepstarstrategic.com. And we'll include all that in the show notes. And I hope you learned as much as I did during this quick discussion with Andrew. So Andrew, with that, thank you so much. And my friends, stay awesome out there.